Well, I gotta admit, it is weird to look at the Big 12 softball standings and not see Oklahoma at number one, but that's what we've got going on, and there is no reason, zero reason, no reason at all to panic over this or even have the slightest bit of concern. If you do look at the Big 12 standings, you got Oklahoma State number one and Oklahoma number two, and this is all done on percentage points. And when you look at the fact that the Cowgirls have played three more conference games than what the Sooners had, that kind of tells the story there. Oklahoma State at 11-1. Oklahoma fresh off a loss, ending their 40-game winning streak. A loss at Texas. The Sooners dropped to 8-1 in conference play on the season. And when you want to, like Oklahoma State, they want to do this. You look on Twitter, you look on social media, there's some smoke there. They want to blow it. And so you could jump in here and you see Oklahoma State has a loss to Iowa State. They're 34-7 on the season. Oklahoma, again, the loss on Sunday to Texas, 38-1 on the season. And when you look at, I think when you look at what's lying ahead for Oklahoma State, there's absolutely, in my opinion, there's absolutely a reckoning coming. Oklahoma State's a good softball program. Don't get me wrong. They're one of the top three in the Big 12. I think clearly your top three programs in the Big 12 are Oklahoma, Texas, Oklahoma State. As to exactly what order they will fall in, that's yet to be determined. But at the order I think they're in, I mean, I got Oklahoma number one in this conference, and then it's kind of a toss-up between Oklahoma State and Texas. And when I say that there's a reckoning coming for Oklahoma State, they still have Texas this coming weekend, and then Oklahoma May 6th through the 8th on the schedule. So, I mean, look, you can talk the talk, but the time's going to come where you have to walk the walk, and those will be two really big series for Oklahoma State. If they're able to win those, they can brag. But until someone dethrones Oklahoma, I'm not going to buy into anything that says that Oklahoma's not the top team in the Big 12, because by my count, I mean, nothing changes. And it's, you want to know how to tell if a team has dominated a conference to the fashion that Oklahoma has? Here's how you do it. The Sooners dropped one game in a series that they had already won. If you think about it, this loss to Texas, it's not even equivalent to Oklahoma's loss to Oklahoma State last year in the Bedlam series. Because at least when Oklahoma lost the Bedlam series, the series was still up in the air. I mean, it could have gone either way. You had to play that rubber match. But Oklahoma had won the first two games against Texas convincingly. They dropped the Sunday game by 2 runs. And you think, there's this party in Austin, we beat the Sooners. No, you didn't. The reality is you won a game, but you lost the series. And to see the reaction across the Big 12 about Oklahoma dropping one game in a series that they won, well, that says a lot. I was traveling in New York this last weekend, the weekend before Easter, and I got to go to Yankees Red Sox. Red Sox lost the first 2 games of that series. They won the final game, the game I went to. Wasn't a lot of celebrating from the Red Sox because they won one game in the series with the Yankees. That's a heated rivalry in baseball, and Oklahoma, Texas is, it's a heated rivalry in anything. I mean, we've talked about this, basket weaving, you name it, it's a heated rivalry. And so, yeah, congratulate them for the Sunday win, but let's keep this whole thing in perspective because nothing changes. This does not remove Oklahoma from being the top team in the Big 12. This does not remove Oklahoma from being the top contender for the national championship. Everyone's still going to expect Oklahoma to be at the World Series. Everyone's still going to expect Oklahoma to host a regional and a super regional. Everyone's still going to expect Oklahoma not only to win the Big 12 regular season title, but to go and win the Big 12 tournament. I mean, literally nothing changes with this. But it is a loss. And you got to move on. And I feel like in many ways, Patty Gasso tried to warn that this was coming. When you look at dissatisfaction, I think of the Sunday game against Baylor. You think about that Wichita State game. where Patty Gasso just kind of said, we're better. We're better than, they're winning these games. But Patty Gasso kept nitpicking. I see this, and I see this, and I see this. And maybe that's what it takes. Maybe that's what it takes to get this team to fully buy into what Patty Gasso is saying, because there is the possibility, you read your own clippings, there is the possibility you just kind of go out there with a ho-hum attitude, having already taken 2 games in this series and taken them convincingly. You go out and you sleepwalk through the Sunday afternoon. We'll find out Wednesday night, because Oklahoma still stays on the road. They're at North Texas on Wednesday night before coming home to host Iowa State over the weekend. But I want to go back to something that I brought up in the last podcast, and I just want to reiterate this, how impressive it is what Oklahoma is doing this season. Sooners are 38-1, 8-1 in conference play. And they're dominating in every facet of this sport. And I still don't know. I brought this up, and I still don't know the answer to it. What's more impressive with what they're doing? Is it more impressive what they're doing from the plate, or is it more impressive what they're doing from the field and in the circle? When you look at what they're doing from the plate, that they have a team batting average of 375. 347 RBIs this season, 105 home runs. Those are all tops in the Big 12. But then you go out to the field and you see, this team is every bit as dominant as what they are offensively. They 0.68 team ERA. They've only given up a total of 32 runs on the season. Only 21 of those 32 runs were earned runs. 336 strikeouts by this pitching staff that lost Giselle Juarez. That's number 2. That puts them number 2 in the Big 12. They've given up the fewest home runs in the Big 12 at 6. You tell me, what's more impressive with what this team is doing? I feel like I'm sticking to my guns when I'm leaning towards, we knew this team was going to be good offensively. When you have the home run leader, not just on the season, but when you have the all-time career home run leader in Jocelyn Allo, they're going to be good offensively. And when you look at when you look at this is just amazing. But when you look at the Big 12 standings as far as statistics, the top 5 batters in the Big 12 are for Oklahoma. Jocelyn Allo leads the way with a 490 batting average. Jada Coleman 456, Riley Boone 444. Taylor Snow, 427, and Grace Lyons at 425. And so when you look at those, all 5 of those girls are returning starters. And you absolutely knew they were coming back, and you knew they were good. And if you go back to the preseason, I was saying it, a lot of people were saying it, I didn't stand on this hill all by myself, talking about this team would break offensive records that they set just a year ago in 2021. And that's what they seem to be on pace to be doing. But you go out into the field and you look at the ladies in the circle, your top 3 pitchers from the Big 12 also with Oklahoma. Hope Trotwine with just a ridiculous 0.11 ERA. Jordy Ball, 0.85. Nicole May, 0.91. And when you look at, you've got the top 3 pitchers in the Big 12, combined 38-1 record. Only 2 of those pitchers were not with this team last year. Only Nicole May, 11-0 on the season. Only Nicole May was on this team last year. Jordy Ball, true freshman, 162 strikeouts this season. Number 2 in the Big 12. Hope Trotwine with North Texas last season, 105 strikeouts, 11-0 record. By the way, Jordy Ball, 16-1. So I think when you look at it from that perspective, to me, I think what they're doing from the field and in the pitching circle, that's probably more impressive than what they're doing behind the plate. But when you combine the two, there's no reason at all to expect that this team won't not just compete for the Big 12 title, but win the Big 12 title again. Not just compete to get to the Women's College World Series, but actually be one more time at the Women's College World Series. Yeah, they lost the game. They lost the game in conference play. Yeah, they did that last year. You remember that? They also lost it. Was it Auburn last year? And they ended up winning it all. So there's no reason to panic at all if you're an Oklahoma softball fan. Hey, Spencer Rattler has some interesting things to say about the state of Oklahoma football, and I got to be honest with you, I don't know that I disagree with him.